Hey, what's going on guys? It's FPL Yusuf and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be going over my final team selection ahead of the game week 5 deadline. I'm going to be showing you the current team that I've got going into that game week deadline, any transfers that I may or may not have done, but also we're going to answer some key questions, especially surrounding who is the best captain for this game week. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining me here today on my YouTube channel for another video. Before we get into this one, if you wouldn't mind dropping a thumbs up and subscribing down below, it'd be greatly appreciated. So, game week 5, the deadline is roughly about 18 hours away at the time of me recording this video. So let's just get straight into the team that I've got currently starting for this game week. So as you guys can see on screen, it's going to be a 3-4-3 formation, and we'll start in goal with David Raya. Now, he, for me, on my wild card last week, was just my keeper that I was going to bring in as a set and forget. He was going to play every game. I already knew on the wild card that, you know, game week 4, Arsenal got a tricky fixture against Spurs. Game week 5, they'll have a tricky one against Man City. So I already knew that, but it was for the fact that I don't have to make a transfer next week. It just limits one transfer that I can save, because obviously I want to get onto the Arsenal defence for game week 6, 7, 8 and beyond. So yeah, for me, David Raya goes in goal. You know, obviously had a great cameo game against Spurs, you know, coming back with a 9-pointer, was the second highest scorer on my team actually behind Erling Haaland. So it's something that's really positive to take into this game week. Obviously, you know, Arsenal played yesterday in the Champions League 0-0, David Raya with a penalty save and just one of the best double saves you're probably likely to ever see from a goalkeeper. It was absolutely ridiculous. So he's coming to this game in good form, so I'm happy to have him in goal. Now my defence consists of 3 at the back. I'm going to start with Trent first. He kind of just picks himself on this team. You know, when you're paying that much money for a premium defender, regardless of who they're playing, he's going to put himself straight in this side. Now, he's obviously got Bournemouth at home, which I think Liverpool would probably want to bounce back, especially after their loss to Nottingham Forest, which was, I think, surprised quite a few of us. I don't think that this game is as easy as it looks on paper, though. I do think Bournemouth are going to be a difficult team to try and break down. And I think the longer the game goes on, the more pressure it will put on Liverpool to have to try and get a goal. And I think if the game stays 0-0, you know, past the hour mark, past it like towards the 70 minutes, I think that's when like nerves start to get a little bit twitchy. So yeah, for me, Trent anyway, he's going to be in there. Hopefully we can get an attacking return from him this week. He's going to be partnering up with Pau Torres, who's got Wolves. Now, Villa have not kept a clean sheet so far this season, and I am expecting that to change this week. I do think that they need to get off the mark in that department. You know, they've got good players. It's just maybe for whatever reason, defensively, they're not clicking together. They're not gelling at the moment. But I do expect them to get a clean sheet in this week, you know, coming up against look that great. You know, they've looked quite poor so far at the start of the season. So, yeah, I think for me, I'm hoping that this is going to be the week that Aston Villa actually managed to hold on to a clean sheet. And my final defender in his team is Mazraoui, coming off the back of a clean sheet last week for us. Again, the 3rd highest scorer in our team. I think this game will be very interesting. I think only one team is going to score in this. Whether it's Crystal Palace or whether it's Man United, that's up for grabs. But I do think it'll be quite a close affair. I don't think you'll see like a load of goals flying in. I think maybe like a 1-1, a 2-0, a 2-1, that type of business. And obviously for me, as you can see, I've got Eze in this team as well. So it's a little bit conflicted in terms of players playing against each other. But if Mazraoui can keep the clean sheet and get some bonus points, that's great. If not, then, you know, we haven't really got much coming off the bench at this point in time. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit more detail as we get into the video. Okay, so onto our midfield now. Diogo Jota is somebody that I spoke about in yesterday's video in the transfer target about whether or not he is as essential as maybe he was at the start of the season. Now, again, he started midweek for Liverpool in the Champions League, got about 70 minutes, I think he was, before he got pulled off. I do think he is first choice, and I don't worry about whether he's going to start or not. I think the biggest issue for Liverpool in terms of rotation and players starting, I think, will probably be on the left-hand side between Diaz and Gakpo, because Gakpo was probably Liverpool's best player in midweek in the Champions League. So I think he gives sort of Arne Slot a conversation to have out on the left-hand side. Didn't look at it at all. So I'm not really worried about Jota's place starting. I'm more worried about his minutes and the output that Liverpool are going to consistently keep up for the next few weeks. So I think for me, for this week, he's fine. I just leave him as it is. You know, I don't want to waste a transfer if I don't have to. But I think in the next sort of 2 weeks or so, there will be a view to look to move him on elsewhere, maybe to Brian and Burmo or, you know, Jarrod Bowen, someone like that. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. One of the captain choices is Diogo Jota's teammate, and that is Mr. Mo Salah. Now, blanked 2 games in a row, one in the Premier League, one in the Champions League. Is it cause for concern? I don't think so. I think Mo Salah, you know, Haaland, all these type of players, Saka, they're going to blank at some point in the season. No one's going to return every single game. So for me personally, he is the best captaincy on paper this week. I'm going to talk about that later on in the video. But yeah, so he's going to be in that midfield with the captaincy armband right now. going to be coupled up in there with Matoma, who I thought was actually really unfortunate not to come away with something last week. You know, he had a very good big chance and then had a follow up on a rebound. And I don't know how he actually didn't score it, so I'm hoping he puts those wrongs right and actually picks up some returns this week. I think Brighton will probably be looking to try and sort of get a couple of goals after I suppose they're disappointing display against Ipswich. So yeah, for me, I think Brighton are a team that I think a lot of people kind of just knew that, you know, game week 5, game week 6, around that time, you're probably going to want to take them out. You know, a lot of people are going to be wildcarding probably next week as well. So yeah, Matoma was just a short stay for now. Finally, the last midfielder is someone that I touched on just earlier. And finally, the last midfielder obviously is the one we touched on already, is Eberechi Eze. Did get a return midweek in the Carabao Cup for Crystal Palace. I think he got a goal and an assist. So, you know, doing well in the Cup. Hopefully those points can translate into some FPL points for us. And obviously, like I said, I've got a little bit of a contradicting setup here where I've got Eze playing Mazraoui. But hopefully both can get attacking returns. We're all happy. You know, it doesn't look like Eze's going to be on penalties now. I think Mateta will probably be their main penalty taker. And this was one thing that I did say at the start of the preseason, that I do think Mateta will be on penalties. You know, he took him towards the end of last year for Crystal Palace, took him at the Olympics for France. I didn't really see a reason why he wouldn't take them over Eze. So, I mean, Glasner come out and said that, you know, both of them are on it. They'll kind of decide between them who's going to take it. So maybe we'll see some rotation there. But I think, at least for the next one, I can't see why Mateta wouldn't take it after he's just come up clutch to get Crystal Palace a draw in the 90th minute for this one. Finally, onto my forward line, Erling Haaland, you know, best player in FPL. I'm not going to captain him this week because obviously he's playing against Arsenal. So that is the big debate that everyone's talking about. Do you go Haaland? Do you go Salah? You know, obviously Haaland, we all know how good he is and we all know he can score against literally anyone. But I think it's also fair to say, to play devil's advocate, I think Arsenal can keep a clean sheet against anyone. So it really is a bit of like a unstoppable force against an immovable object. You know, you've got City with the attack and Arsenal with the defence. So we'll see who comes out on top this week. You know, Danny Welbeck, the same as Matoma. I'm hoping that he's going to put some goals past Nottingham Forest at home. You know, obviously Forest coming off the back of a really good result against Liverpool. But I think this game will probably be more likely to be more open. I think Nottingham Forest kind of went to Anfield, shut up shop a little bit, where they were just more defensively solid instead of worrying about going forward. And they were just going to try and take their chance on the counter. But I think this game, Forest will probably back themselves as maybe being even the bigger team, the better team. So hopefully we can see a bit more of end-to-end football. And finally, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He is currently flagged on FPL, it's worth me saying. Was someone I brought him on wildcard for this exact fixture and this exact week. You know, Leicester, even though it's away, I do like the way Everton are attacking at the moment. Defensively, not so much, but for me, Calvert-Lewin is all about the goals, all about his hold-up plays, link-up plays. So I'm hoping that he's fit. Now, they did say I think they said he was ill, which is why he didn't play midweek in the Cup, but he didn't actually travel with the squad. Some people were saying that Sean Dyche just didn't want to take him at all, and they just put out the story that he's ill because obviously they lost, and you know, why wasn't he on the bench? But I think if he was just getting a rest, it's good news for us as FPL owners. But if not, then you know, just need to make sure that you have someone on the sub bench who is actually playing for you. Okay, captaincy choice. Now, this is probably the biggest question this week. Who do we captain? Do we go for Haaland? Do we go for Salah? Or is there another world that we go for somebody else? I think this week there really are very few options for captaincy. I think Salah is the standout on paper just because of the fixture. I think it's worth me saying at the time of recording, he is currently my captain. There's something about this fixture I'm not sure. I don't know if it's maybe from a couple of seasons ago. You know, if you guys have been playing FPL for a while, Liverpool did beat Bournemouth 9-0 and Mo Salah played 90 minutes and got nothing, which just seems utterly it just seems ridiculous. The fact that someone of Mo Salah's caliber in a 9-0 game got no returns. I don't know if maybe that's playing a part into it or if it's just because of the result against Forest, which obviously hasn't been great. At the time of recording, like I said, will have him on captaincy. I don't know come the deadline if he will be my captain. Like I said, there is very few options this week. You know, Haaland's the other one, which I think, you know, the people who don't own Salah will probably be looking at. But again, he's playing against Arsenal, who've got the best centre-backs in the league. They've got the best defence in the league, best defence in Europe, best defence in the world, whatever you want to call it. So I think, you know, last season as well, when Haaland played against Saliba and Gabriel, played them 3 times, didn't score against any of them. Played them in the Community Shield, didn't score. Played them at the Emirates. City lost 1-0. You know, Gabriel and Saliba just dominated him. And then, you know, at the Etihad for the third game, you know, Arsenal went there, locked it down. Again, clean sheet for them. Haaland got sort of blanked out. So, yeah, I really don't know which way this is going to go. It's really strange because Arsenal have started so strong defensively, but Haaland started so strong attackingly. So it's going to be a difficult one this week. The other options, maybe there's an outside chance for Ollie Watkins. I think a lot of people are a little bit concerned about him because obviously he came off with an ice pack on his leg. I think he'll be fine. I won't really worry too much. My thing for him is maybe just, is he going to play 90 minutes? You know, Duran's been in really good form at the moment. Is he going to carry on? Like, is Ollie Watkins going to get a full 90 minutes? Which obviously, when you're captaining someone, you kind of want them to play as much as possible. So that's the other thing you have to sort of consider. But I think at the time of recording, Mo Salah is definitely number one. Probably followed closely by Haaland, but not that close. And then, you know, you look around at the others for the likes of Ollie Watkins. I've seen some people make an outside shout for Trent. You know, Trent usually has a couple games a season where, you know, I think it was Leicester a couple of seasons ago where he got 24 points. He got a couple of assists, a goal, clean sheet. He does have those games in him and he can score those points. I just think Salah with the penalties, if you're going to go for someone from Liverpool, I think it's just an easier route to points. And obviously, if Salah scores, usually he ends up taking 3 bonus points as well. So, yeah, captaincy-wise for me, as a time of recording, it will be Mo Salah. Could change. I just look at my squad and don't really see anyone else that I'd probably want to risk that sort of thing on. Finally, just in my transfers, no transfers for me this week. I'm going to roll. As you guys can see on screen, I'll just put little stats of kind of where I am. So I'll be going into game week 6 with 2 free transfers. We'll currently, at the time of recording, have 0.3 in the bank. No doubt we'll see some price changes happening over the course of the next week. You know, I think a lot of people probably will start wildcarding for game week 6. It's worth mentioning, though, if you are somebody who, you know, looks about team value and looks about price changes, when you wildcard, players who are bringing different assets in on the wildcard, it's worth me saying that their price doesn't actually rise. So don't worry about it. If you see like an influx of like triple Arsenal coming in, you think, oh, Saliba, Gabriel's going to go up. They won't count wildcard transfers. So wildcard transfers don't count towards price changes. It's just normal transfers. So yeah, we're going to go into game week 6 with 2 free transfers, 0.3 million in the bank. And yeah, this is what the team will look like for game week 6. I'll show you like a little early preview. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that next week and sort of the transfers that we're looking to make. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I will be back probably with another video this weekend. Actually, I'm going to do a game week 6 wildcard draft for any of you guys who, you know, are sort of struggling for ideas or kind of want to look at maybe what the best optimal team is. I'll make a video on that hopefully on Sunday, and then yeah, we'll be back next week, you know, with another FPL challenge, another transfer targets, team selection, the usual content. So yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support, all the likes, the views. It's been so good so far. So thank you all so much, and I'll catch you guys next time.